Hello, I hope you're all doing well. For the longest time, handing in your daily Imperial boxes used to be a standard part of every life skiller's daily routine. But as the game is evolving, the profit of Imperial boxes is becoming less and less significant compared to other more active activities like grinding or even hunting. So in this video I want to outline some pros and cons to Imperial cooking and go over the recent changes and trends and give my opinion on whether Imperial cooking is still worth it. Just a quick thing I want to get off my chest before we get started. I feel like I spent way too much time making my last video, that was the one about advanced worker mechanics. Sometimes I just want to get a video 100% right, and I usually end up spending 20 or even 30 hours on these kinds of videos. I ended up recording, re-recording, editing, re-editing, and overall I got pretty annoyed with that video. So in this video I want to take the polar opposite, where I pretty much do as little scripting as possible and just sit here talking about a topic that I love, cooking. So I will say this video is probably gonna be a lot more chaotic than you're used to from my other videos, and if there's anything unclear or if I go over things too quickly, please go ahead and ask in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. But yeah, let's just get on with the video. We're gonna be going over two ways in which you can approach Imperial cooking. So first one is to just buy the finished meals off the market, that's the easy option, and the other one is to go ahead and cook the meals yourself. It's a bit more involved but also more profitable and also has some other benefits, and the question is of course if it's worth the time investment. Now, by far the easiest option to make money with Imperial cooking is simply to walk up to the market, buy the meals, then sit down and box them and sell them to the Imperial guy. These meals are pretty cheap right now and they're getting cheaper all the time. There's a big trend in cooking happening right now with the introduction of the mastery crystals. There's more and more cooks sitting at 2k mastery and just spamming out these meals and driving down the price. And for that reason, buy boxing guru meals has never been more profitable than it is now. Now, if you're interested in which meal is the most profitable to box at any given time, you can use different tools. The one I like using is BDO. So here, if you go to life skills, cooking, and then Imperial cooking, you can see the profit you can make off Imperial boxes. Here we got two columns. The first one is for buying the meals. The second one is if you make them yourself. We will get to that later. Here what you want to do is enter your mastery, that is the mastery including the mastery clothes, because as you will know, to hand in the boxes you want to equip your mastery clothes, since cooking mastery affects the box sale price you get at the NPC. I take 950 mastery here because that's about what you would have if you are fresh Guru 1 and have a set of Tet Logia gear. Now you can see a few things here. So first of all, the most profitable meal at the moment is Valencia meal. There's usually some fluctuation, this will change pretty much daily, and you can just check the site whenever you need to buy meals. We also see that buying and boxing Valencia meals is 525k profit. Now each day you can hand in a certain number of boxes. This is determined by your CP. You can hand in half your CP's worth of boxes. So for example, at 400 CP you can turn in 200 boxes. So say you have 400 CP, you can turn in 200 boxes a day. At this current profit you will be making about 105 mil profit each day. Now some people confuse the revenue with the profit. This is a mistake I see all the time. The revenue is all the money you get if you sell the boxes. So you can see here, if I sell my boxes I will end up with 280 million silver, but obviously not all of that is profit. And this table here just shows the profit, so the sale price minus the cost of the meals. So if you're a fresh Guru 1 with some basic gear and can hand in 200 boxes, you get a breezy 105 million per day. That's pretty decent, right? And you also get a few Imperial seals that you can then hand in for different things. I would say the best one currently is the Supreme utensil. They are really convenient for AFK cooking and they're also pretty high value just in terms of silver per seal. Now the question is obviously how much effort do you have to put into getting those 105 million, and honestly with all of the recent changes to Imperials it's really not that much effort anymore. There have been quite a lot of quality of life changes to make Imperials much more convenient. So first of all, there used to be a limit to the number of boxes the NPC would take that was shared by multiple players. That was removed, so you can basically hand in your boxes any time of the day. You're only limited by your personal daily quota. Then when it comes to packing the boxes, you can pack 10 boxes at once using this item right here. To be able to use that item, you will need to do a quest. I'll link it in the description. So I can pretty much pack all the boxes I need for one day in a matter of 2 minutes. And then they also reduced the weight limit of these boxes. They are now 10 LT and I can pretty much fit my entire daily quota into my inventory. So I only have to do a single trip to the NPC. All in all, getting my Imperial money takes no more than 3 minutes of time. It's super chill, and you can even pack the boxes in advance, and then when it comes to turning them in, you just need to pull them out of your storage. And yes, I know grinding and hunting money is off the charts right now, but I would say around 100 million profit, of course depending on the market prices, that's pretty good for 3 minutes of effort. And a quick thing I want to point out on whether it's actually worth it to level all the way to Guru just to hand in the Guru boxes. With the Guru boxes, we are looking at about 525k profit, and for the below Guru box, that's pickled vegetables, we are about 185k profit less. So with 200 boxes a day, you'd be making about 37 million per day more by being able to hand in the Guru boxes. And that adds up really quickly if you're handing in your Imperials every day. And I will say getting to Guru really isn't all that difficult anymore, given the vast amount of EXP buffs that the game throws at us. So overall, I would say leveling to Guru is still pretty worth it. Consider that by leveling to Guru, you're getting the byproducts to increase your CP. More CP not only means more Imperial boxes, but it also means you can pick up more worker nodes, which are also pretty strong right now. So just leveling your cooking, generating a bunch of CP on the way is overall a pretty good strategy for some consistent daily income. So this is the easy way to make money with Imperials, just buying and boxing. But if you want to go the extra mile and cook the meat yourself, you can make even more money. Now, I know there are a lot of people who are just spamming easy recipes to Guru, like pickled vegetables and vinegar, and if this is the first time looking at these Guru meals, I know they can be quite daunting. There's tons of ingredients, tons of different components you need to cook, so I kind of want to walk you through what it's like to get the ingredients for a meal like this for daily Imperial turn-ins. I want to show you this with the example of a balanced meal, since they are a somewhat easy meal to make. The ingredients often come from various life skills like processing, farming, hunting, or gathering. And then some meals also have what we call a bottleneck. That's an ingredient that you can't buy off the market and you would need to gather that yourself. And I will say there have been a lot of recent changes in the game that make getting these ingredients much easier. So for example, a bottleneck for balanced meals used to be the crops hot pepper, onion, and pepper. But then PA added the so-called crop exchange, where you can turn special crops into high quality or white crops at any seed vendor. It's pretty easy. You need the specials in your inventory, walk up to the seed vendor, select the crop you want to exchange into. One special turns into either 4 white or 2 high quality crops. Let's go with high quality here. And there you go. We now got a bunch of high quality pepper. This crop exchange is actually insanely convenient for cooks, because on the one hand, if you don't want to farm those cotton crops yourself, you can just buy them off the market at special and exchange them down into the grade you need. And if you do farm them yourself, you can use magical seeds to farm special crops, which are much more time efficient than farming high quality or white seeds directly. Now the second big change is with the meat. Meat used to sit at like 20k or even more expensive, and now you can see it's pretty cheap. That's because there's a huge oversupply on the meat on the market, and getting meat has just become so much easier. That's A, because hunting is really strong, either regular hunting at Nasion or even the sniper hunting introduced with the Land of Morning Light. Hunting generates a ton of meat, so knocking out the amount of meat you need for your daily Imperials is really easy now. And hunting is generally the preferred way to get your hands on red meat, so that's our meat with this icon. Now you could also gather for meat. That's kind of the old school way. I will say it's compared to hunting, it's quite a lot weaker, but there have been some recent changes to make gathering a bit stronger. One is the gathering minigame. Basically, when you gather, you get a small chance to proc this minigame. If you complete it, you get 10 times the amount and consume 10 times the energy. This basically means that you are able to go through your energy faster, and across the board you will be gathering about 30% more materials per hour. Now the second thing is a different older change. The aggress fever can be applied to gathering. So if you turn this on during gathering, you will get more of the main materials. That's the meat if you're meat gathering. Now whether you actually want to use aggress on gathering instead of on grinding is totally up to you. But both of these changes mean that if you want to, you can now gather ingredients much faster than you used to be able to. Now, one thing I'm sure a lot of you are interested in is the amount of effort you would need to provide the materials for your guru boxes. You can actually use BDO to show how many ingredients you would need to get for like 1 day or 1 week of Imperials. For that, you would want to go to the guru box recipe and then select the meal you're cooking. And here I've entered 1.4k as the craft quantity. That's 1 week of Imperials at 200 boxes a day. We would need about 3.5k special crops. That's about 3 farming sessions, so like 1 day of farming for a whole week of Imperials. That's really not a lot of effort. And then the big time sink is of course the meat, so you can see here we would need about 34k wolf meat. Now again, you could just buy this meat off the market for a hit in profit. I will say if you don't have time to gather or hunt, or if you don't enjoy doing these activities, this can be a perfectly valid way to go about getting your meat. But if you're into hunting, and especially if you have a decent hunting mastery, then getting 34k meat is really not that difficult. This is GPW's hunting calculator. I'm gonna link it in the description, and here I just quickly want to show you how much meat you could get in an hour of hunting. So you can see here, if you have 1.2k mastery, do shadow wolves, you can get 19k meat. Just keep in mind that this is at fairly optimized clear speed. Just to put this into context, supplying the meat for 1 week of Guru Imperial boxes if you're doing Balanos meals requires less than 2 hours of hunting. So of course, depending on which meal you're cooking, you're not going to be looking at more than a few hours of active time to get all of the ingredients to cook your meals. So now the big question is of course, if I'm gonna spend all of the time getting these ingredients, is it even worth it to cook the meals, or would I just be better off buying them off the market? So it's a good idea to check how much money you're actually saving by cooking these meals yourself rather than buying them. And BDO has quite a handy tool for doing that. So if you look here on the recipe page, what you can do is tick this keep button. If you press this keep button, then it will omit the market tax, and instead of the profit for selling, you get how much money you're saving by cooking these meals compared to buying them off the market. And you can see here, assuming we have 70-50 mastery, again this is about what you would have at Guru 1 with Ted Logia gear, you'd be making 38 million per hour. Now I will say the current profit here is if you bought all of the raw ingredients off the market, and if you really don't feel like gathering, this is a totally valid way to get your Imperial meals and get some EXP at the same time. And if on top of that you want to invest the time into gathering the ingredients, so let's say we're gathering the meat and all of the crops, then you can see the profit goes up quite significantly. So here we're indicating that we're gathering the ingredients ourselves by pressing this tax button. So on top of the money we generate by gathering or farming these materials, we will also be making more money cooking them. And now obviously this is not a whole lot, especially if you're lower mastery, then you will not be making much profit if you're cooking the meals yourself, but you have to consider that these meals are massive EXP. And what you're really doing is investing into your cooking level, because as you level up cooking, you will increase your mastery, and that will get you more profit in the future. Alright, final verdict. Is Imperial Cooking still worth it in the current state of the game? And I will say it's definitely not the powerhouse that it used to be, but the recent changes related to packing and delivering the boxes make it so that if you just want to buy a box, then you will still get a decent income for the time invested. Now, when it comes to making the meals, it's a bit more tricky, because on the one hand, getting the ingredients has become quite a lot easier due to recent changes, but on the other hand, meal prices are driven down by the high mastery cooks, so chances are that at lower mastery you're not gonna be making much money. And the big reason for cooking these meals yourself at lower mastery would be to get the EXP as an investment into your future cooking level. In any case, I hope this video was helpful. If I forgot anything, then please point it out in the comments so other people can see it, and I'll see you in a future video. Take care!